wanted to say that the Torah portion for this Shabbat is really kind of significant. It is called Yitro, that's Jethro. Jethro is Moses' father-in-law. He is also a character in the Beverly Hillbillies, but that was many years ago. Jethro goes to visit with Moses, and he makes some very useful suggestions. He's really he's the ideal father-in-law. Everybody should have a father-in-law like Jethro. Okay, so we'll begin the service now. Thank you. First, the candle lighting. Yes, yes, yes.
You want us to do it?
Would that be okay?
Sure.
All right.
Okay, very good.
Take it away.
Yes. This is my second candle lighting this Shabbat. Just lighting candles up and down the seacoast. All right, we wave our hands over the candles. We cover our eyes and sing the blessing. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lehavim shalom. Amen. Thank you very much. Nicely done. Shabbat shalom. Good shot. It's good to see you. Shabbat shalom. Speak after the Moshe.
Okay. Good, so we turn to page 13 to begin our service. Join together in the Shalom Aleichem. Page 13. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, B'Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Malachei Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Baruch Hu Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei Shalom, Malachei Elyon. B'Melech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 14. We join together in singing the first two verses of Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman Meshochav El Retzonach Yarutz Avtach Kemo Hayal Yishtachaveh El Mul Hadorach Yerev Lo Yediduta תתרפא והייתה לך שפחת עולם. ידדי די די די, ידדי די די די, ידדי די 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 די, ידדי די די, ידדי די 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 די די. We turn now to page 15 for Psalm 95, the first of seven psalms representing the days of creation and the days of the week, of course. Lechu neranena l'Adonai, nariya letzur yisheinu, nekadma panav b'todah, bizmirot nariya lo, nekadma panav b'todah, bizmirot nariya lo. El gadol Adonai umelech gadol al kol Elohim asher biyadam mechkarei haaretz v'toafot harim lo asher biyadam mechkarei haaretz v'toafot harim lo. At the bottom of the page. Arba'im shana akut bedor, va'amaram to'ele v'pein, ve'hem lo yade'u derachai, asher nishbati be'api, im yivo'un el menuchati. Turn now to page 18 for Psalm 98. And we're going to sing 3 lines from the bottom. Please pass.
Do you want me to give those out, Ken?
Oh, that's okay. There's hardly anyone to give it out to.
There we go. No, that's all right. Okay.
Okay, 3 lines from the bottom. Neharot yimcha'u chaf, yimcha'u chaf, yimcha'u chaf. Neharot yimcha'u chaf, yimcha'u chaf, yimcha'u chaf. Yachad harim, yachad harim, yachad harim yiranenu. Yachad harim, yachad harim, yachad harim yiranenu. Clap your hands, rivers, oceans, clap your hands. Clap your hands, rivers, oceans, clap your hands. Mountains rejoice, earth sound your voice. All of nature sings in praise to God. Mountains rejoice, earth sound your voice. All of nature sings in praise to God. Lifnei Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel betzedek, ve'amim b'meisharim. Turn to page 20. Join together in Psalm 29. Havul Adonai b'nei Elim, Havul Adonai kavod va'oz, Havul Adonai kevod shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, El hakavod hirim, Adonai al mayim rabim, Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover orasim, Vayishaber Adonai et arzei halvanon, Vayarkidehem kemo egel Lebanon, Vesiryon kemo ven rehemim, Kol Adonai chotzei plavotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel ayalot, Vayechesov yarot, Uveichalo kulo, Omer kavod, Omer kavod, Adonai lamabul yashav, Vayeshev Adonai melech leolam, Adonai oz le'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom. We turn now to page 21, Lecha Dodi. We welcome the Shabbat bride. We'll be singing the first two verses, and then on the next page, the last verse. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, U'shmo echad, Le'shem u'tiferet v'litila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'neilcha, Ki hi mekor haberacha, Me'rosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. We rise and face the entrance for the Shabbat bride. Bo'i v'shalom ateret bala, Gam b'simcha u'b'tzola, Toch emunei am segula, Bo'i chala, Bo'i chala. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. You may be seated. We turn to page 23 for the Psalm for Shabbats. we'll be singing the first 4 lines together, if you know the tune. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור. Back to the top. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך העליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת. We join together 4 lines from the bottom. צדיק אתה אמר יברח, כארץ בלבנון יזכה, שתולים בבית אדוני, בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולתו.
Thank you, Cantor. Yasher Koach. I wanted to introduce you to the Torah portion, which I alluded to earlier. It's called Yitro or Jethro. And Jethro is the high priest of Midian. We have no idea where Midian is. We don't know if it was a town, a village, an oasis, or what. But what happens is that Jethro hears about Moses' adventures. He's been leading the Israelites. He whipped Pharaoh's cavalry all hollow, and he also afflicted the Egyptians with 10 plagues. So he's quite a big noise in the Middle East of those days. Egypt was at the time the chief power in the Middle East. Well, he hears about all the miracles of Jethro, and he decides to go visit Moses. Now this is the part where I allude to something a little more personal. When I was the rabbi in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, it was easy for my parents to come up and visit. And they loved to come see us and the grandchildren and so on. And the first time he came up, my father took me aside, and I said, "Dad, what are you going to do tomorrow?" I mean, there really was no entertainment for him. He said, "You're going to buy me a copy of the New York Times and a copy of the New York Daily News and a copy of the New York Post, and then I'm going to come with you to the office." And now I was a little bit shocked, because I said, "Dad, why do you want to go to the office?" And then I realized that after all those years of paying for private high school and private college and graduate school, he really still didn't believe that I had a job. He wanted to see it for himself. He says, "I'm just going to sit there and look at you." And he did. If somebody wanted to speak to me confidentially, he would excuse himself, but otherwise he had a wonderful day just looking at me. That was about the long and the short of it. Well, Jethro's about the same way. Jethro is very proud of Moses, but he doesn't know exactly what he does. So when he comes out to visit him, They go, they run, they embrace, they kiss each other. They're very good friends. Everybody should have a father-in-law, as I said, like Jethro. He was just a wonderful, wonderful fellow. We don't know. The jury is still out as to whether he converted to Judaism or not, because he could have converted himself, but that doesn't really make sense. You have to keep in mind, however, that the Torah is given later on in this Torah portion, and Judaism as a religion is not really a final thing. I still think that Judaism is evolving, and it's the folks like yourselves who decide which way it should go. Well, the next day, he goes out to, again, keep an eye on his son-in-law, and he sees that Moses is sitting in the middle of the camp with an enormous line of Israelites waiting to speak to him. Because the situation in the judiciary in those days is that Moses is the only judge. And if you wanted to know if your chicken was kosher, you'd go see Moses. If you had a property dispute with someone else,
Go ahead.
if you had a property dispute with someone else, you would go to see Moses. So he's a very, very busy person. And what Jethro recommends to Moses is you're going to waste yourself this way. The Hebrew phrase is ki navol tibol. You shall surely waste yourself. But the point is that navol tibol, that's the root of the word nevela. A nevela is the carcass of an animal. And Jethro is very concerned. He had come to see Moses along with his wife Zipporah, that is Moses' wife, and their two sons, Gershom and Eleazar. And they've never before seen their father. They haven't had Moses is probably the world's worst father, really. If psychoanalysis had been invented at that time, Gershom and Eleazar would have sat on the couch and had a great deal to complain about their father. But Jethro says, what I want you to do is this. You're going to waste yourself in this manner. Instead, appoint judges of 50s, judges of 40s, judges of 20s, and judges of 10s. And that way, when people have a legal dispute, they can work it up the line. If it's just a chicken being kosher or not, that's something that you can take care of. You can have one of the lesser judges take care of it. If it's a major property dispute, then it can go right to you. And if you can't answer it, of course, he says you go to God. Well, at this point, we don't know whether, I think Moses says to Jethro, do you want to join us? We're about to go to Mount Sinai. We're going to have what they call the theophany, that is the appearance of God. And they camp opposite. I think that Jethro leaves. He does leave the wife and the two boys with Moses for all the good it's going to do them. But anyway, they go to Mount Sinai, and God announces that he has chosen the Israelites after testing every single nation in the world. He has decided that the Israelites are going to carry the ball in terms of Judaism. And he says, you're going to be Am Kehuna, a kingdom of priests, V'goy Kadosh, a holy nation. And the people respond, Anaseh v'nishma. Everything that God says we'll do, and we will listen. And that's a very important difference between Judaism and other religions. There are other religions where you believe first and you go to understand later. In Judaism, you have got to accept the law, not the entire law. We're not so much a chosen people as a choosy people. And then you decide what kind of Jew you want to be. On the 6th day of the 3rd month, 7 weeks after the Exodus, the entire nation of Israel assembles at the foot of Mount Sinai for the giving of the Torah. I was very fortunate. I got to visit Mount Sinai back in 1972. This is when Israel still owned the Sinai. It was before the Yom Kippur War. And I noticed there's not an awful lot around Mount Sinai, number one. And number two, it's not the biggest mountain in the world. It's Mount Sinai. It's not Mount Everest. And there is a monastery at the foot of the mountain. It's called the Monastery of Santa Caterina. And the monks in the monastery, apparently over the centuries, it gets very dull. They did us a favor. They carved steps into the stones of Mount Sinai. So you don't need your pickaxe, you don't need your penons or anything like that. You could just walk up Mount Sinai and walk down as well. God appears in thunder, lightning, billows of smoke, and the blast of the shofar. And the difference between the shofar blast at Sinai and the shofar blast that we do on the High Holy Days is that in the case of an angel blowing the shofar, it started out low and then it got louder and louder because it was meant to be miraculous. Finally, God gives them the 10 commandments. And certainly there are more commandments than just 10. There are 613 altogether. But this is how he starts them out. He tells them, believe in God, don't worship idols, don't take God's name in vain, keep Shabbat, honor your parents, don't murder, don't commit adultery, and don't steal, don't bear false witness or covet another's property. I remember one year, one of the Hebrew school teachers who was teaching the 4th grade wanted to teach them the 10 commandments. Then she looked them over and she said, how do I teach 4th graders about adultery? I said, tell them that's something adults do. So that seemed to work. But at this point, you can see God gave us the 10 commandments, God gave us the Torah at Sinai, and we've been carrying the burden ever since. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos. Thank you. Any questions? All right. Well, let's continue. The Baruch Hu, the call to worship, which is on page 28. All please rise, and we bow towards the ark. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Mevorach Liolam Voed. Please be seated. On the lower left of page 28, Light and Darkness, we're going to read this responsively. And I really like this part because we've been hearing all kinds of wonders about this space telescope, which is sending us back beautiful pictures. Light and darkness, night and day, we marvel at the mystery of stars. Together, moon and sky, sand and sea, we marvel at the mystery of sun. Twilight, high noon, dusk and dawn, though we are mortal, we are creation's crown. Flesh and bone, steel and stone, we dwell in fragile temporary shelters. Grant steadfast love, compassion, grace, sustain us, God, our origin is dust. Majesty, mercy, love endure, we are but little lower than the angels. Resplendent skies, sunset, sunrise, the grandeur of creation lifts our lives. Evening darkness, morning dawn, renew our lives as you renew all time. Continuing now, on page 30 with the Shema, we'll cover the eyes. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Uncover the eyes. Baruch Shem Kivod, Malchuto Liolam Voed. Let's read the English paragraph. You shall love. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. And these words which I command you this day you shall take to heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Recite them at home and away, night and day. Bind them as a sign upon your hand, as a reminder above your eyes. Inscribe them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. We'll continue now. On page 32, on the right, below the line, let's read this together. You cannot find redemption until you see the flaws in your own soul and try to efface them. Nor can a people be redeemed until it sees the flaws in its soul and tries to efface them. But whether it be an individual or a people, whoever shuts out the realization of their flaws is shutting out redemption. We can be redeemed only to the extent to which we see ourselves. The world is in need of redemption, but the redemption cannot be expected to happen as an act of sheer grace. Our task is to make the world worthy of redemption. Our faith and our works are preparations for ultimate redemption. Let's sing the Michamocha. It's transliterated on the left-hand side. Michamocha, Ba'elim Adonai. Michamocha, Nedor Ba'kodesh, Norah Tilot, Osef Eleh, Malchut Harovanecha, Bokei Hayam Lefnei Moshe, Seili Anu V'Yamru, Adonai Yimloch Le'olam Voed, V'nemar, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גואל ישראל. Amen. Page 33. This is the paragraph we read for the folks who are not well. We can call out the names and wish them refuah shlema, quick and speedy recovery. Paul Klein, refuah shlema. Joel Lubar, refuah shlema. Any other names?
Judy Kosnitz.
Refuah shlema.
I have a bunch
Yes.
from people online. Glenn Bodendorf,
Refuah shlema.
David and Susan Solomon,
Refuah shlema.
Paul Klein,
Refuah shlema.
Joel,
Refuah shlema.
Sheila,
Refuah shlema.
Jeff Stern,
Refuah shlema.
Kenny Roth,
Refuah shlema.
Vince Massey and Patricia Massey.
Refuah shlema.
I think that's it.
Okay. We're also thinking about our brothers and sisters in the state of Israel, many of whom lost their lives in the current conflict and the terrible massacre of October 7. Let's read together the top left-hand paragraph on 33. Help us, Adonai, to lie down in peace, and awaken us again, our sovereign, to life. Spread over us your shelter of peace. Guide us with your good counsel. Save us because of your mercy. Shield us from enemies and pestilence, from starvation, sword, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, O God, who watches over us and delivers us, our gracious and merciful ruler. Guard our coming and our going. Grant us life and peace now and always. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Praised you, Adonai, who spreads the shelter of peace over us, over all his people Israel, over Jerusalem and the entire world. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, Baruch atah Adonai. Aporei sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim, v'al kol ha'olam kulo. Amen. Page 34. Let's sing together the Vishamru. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti liolam, oti liolam, oti liolam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ubayom hashvi Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash, Shabbat vaynafash. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Please rise, have Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbo, Amen. Yom ha'divra chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chaye chon uv'yomei u'chaye t'chol beit Yisroel, ha'gala, ha'gala, uv'izman kariv,
v'yimeru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach, li'olam le'olmaya, yitbarach, yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yipoar, v'yitromam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitaleh, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha brichu, li'ela, min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, tamihiran v'yalema, v'yimeru, amen. The Amidah, beginning on 35b and continuing until 38. After 38, you may be seated. Please turn to page 38. This is an old Debbie Friedman tune. Shalom Rahav al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisroel Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov b'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol heit u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav Right, we continue now. On page 47, in the middle of the page, I'll do the left-hand paragraph, which includes the imahot, the matriarchs, because as we know, without matriarchs, you don't get any patriarchs. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, U'el Agadol Gibor V'Nora, El Elyon Konei Shemayim V'Haaretz. This is the bottom paragraph on 47, which is also transliterated. Ogin Avot B'Dvaro, Chayei Meitim B'Mamaro, Oel HaKadosh Shein Kamohu, Ameniach Liyamo, Bihom Shabbat Kodsho, Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem, Kivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem, Lefanav Navod B'Irav Afachad, V'nodeh Lishmo B'chol Yom Tamid, Me'ein habrachot, Ahot, Ahot, Adon, Hashalom, Mekadesh HaShabbat, Umvorech Shevi, Umeniach Li'amedu Shnei Onei, Zecher L'maaseh v'reishi. Page 48 is the full Kaddish, after which we'll do the Kiddush for Shabbat. Yikra v'yikra shemei Rabbah, Amen. Yomad yivrach Yerutei v'yamliach malchutei, V'chayeichon v'yimeichon v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael, Hagalav v'zman kariv v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach, Li'olam li'ol me'ol maya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipoar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, Yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei l'kudisha b'richu, V'elam min kol brachata v'shiratat v'shmata v'nachamata, Damiran b'yama v'yimru, Amen. Titkabal tzloton avoton l'chol Yisrael, Kedam avon v'yishmaya v'yimru, Amen. Yehei shalom rabba min shemaya, V'chayim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen. U'oseh shalom b'mromav, U'yaseh shalom aleinu, V'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Imru, Amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, Amen. All right, 49, just sit tight, and I'll come back with the wine. It's in the kitchen, but I think you need 6 hands to count.
I get it. I'll get it.
Well, it's 2 cups, 1 tray.
I'll get it. Okay.
Well, I covered you. So we
Okay,
have
thank you.
4 hands.
Thank you very much. Anybody remember raisin wine? Anybody ever had raisin wine? No? A friend of mine was telling me that his grandmother used to make it for the kids to drink on Pesach. So, my own grandmother, my Bubby, from Poland, let her rest in peace, she was a tough customer. She used to go to the Essex Street Market and pick up the grapes and the cherries and any type of fruit that was just about to turn. And then she would carry it home,
and she would pick up some really cheap hooch and pour it onto a bleach bottle. I don't know why it had to be a bleach bottle. She would mix the fruit with the alcohol and then put it in the bottom of the linen closet for about 6 months. And she made her own liqueur. So it was, I never drank it, I was a kid, but it was quite a thing. The only other thing, well, I remember some other stories about Bubby, but she had this big old stove. It was gas fed, but it was really a big monster. And on top she kept a cutting board, a wooden cutting board. And she said to me, Dovidel, don't touch the cutting board, you'll burn your finger and it's really going to hurt. I was 5 years old, so of course I touched the cutting board and I burnt my finger. So what did she do? She grabbed me by the arm and she pulled me into this big old Bubby closet with spices and oils and all different kinds of mysterious things, and she put oil on my finger. So now, not only was I in pain, I was oily. She didn't know you just hold it under the cold water. All these old country cures, really. Okay, so we're on page 49, and when the wine arrives, we'll do the Shema. Any questions? Leland, ask me a question, please.
Tell us one of your jokes.
I've been doing that all along. I'll tell you one thing. The fact that we have all these Kaddishes. Now, the most common Kaddish is the half Kaddish. That we say during minor breaks in the davening. The other Kaddish we do is the full Kaddish, and that comes at the end of the service. That's why we said it back there a couple of pages ago. But there's also the mourner's Kaddish, of course, which is the same as the full Kaddish, only it's missing one line. The one line is, may the prayers and supplications of all the house of Israel be acceptable to their Father in heaven. And because someone is gone, we're mourning someone, we can't say that full Kaddish. Okay? All right. Oh, thank you very much.
Juice.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you see what happened?
No wine.
It got bent, it was put into a vise because she wanted them to do her husband's initials. And I don't know what kind of sunlight she got hold of, but they destroyed a perfectly good vase. Did you want to do Kiddush? I think you should do Kiddush.
You do?
Yes, please. Do you want to hold this? Do you want to hold it? Okay, please rise. Katya's going to do Kiddush.
Page 49. Sabri Chaverai. Can I hear a L'chaim? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratza banu v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hilpilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom techila lemikra'e kodesh zecher litziat Mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshcha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Amen. L'chaim l'shalom. All right, the later on page 51.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגאור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושמו אחד.
Thank you. Mourners Kaddish, please remain standing. We're all saying Kaddish, as I said earlier, in memory of the Israelis who lost their lives. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Amen. Yalmad yivrach berutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'mechon v'chayet v'chol beit Yisrael. V'agalal v'zman kariv yivru, Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevorach v'yolam u'le'olam. Yitbarach v'yishmach v'ar v'tromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei tekudesha b'riachu. V'elam min kol v'yachata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. V'aviran v'yalma v'yimru, Amen. Yehi shalama Rabbah ben Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Uyaseh shalom. Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yal kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru, Amen. Please be seated. I don't really have any announcements, but I do want to thank you all for coming, whether in reality or virtual reality. And tomorrow at 9:30 we have the regular morning service, which will meet here in the chapel. And we want to say Mazel Tov to Ida and Arthur Schwartz. We're dedicating the service to them, to their great-grandchild. And afterwards we're going to enjoy a wonderful Kiddush in honor of the baby. So, I think that's about it, but I don't know, anything else? Okay. All right, on page 54, the Adon Olam. We've been doing the Adon Olam with greater or lesser success to the tune of the Hatikvah, the Israeli national anthem, and I think I'd like to finish the service with that. Adon Olam, Hashem Olach, B'terem kol yitzim nivra, Li'ed nasa b'chefzo kol, Asai melech shemo nikra, V'acharei kichlot hakol, Levadoi loch nora, Vehu haya, Vehu hoveh, Vehu yeh b'tifara, Vehu echad v'ein sheni, V'hamshilo v'hachvira, V'li reshit, V'li tachlit, V'lo haoz v'hamizra, V'hu eli v'chai goali, V'tzur chevli v'etzara, V'hu nisi u'manos li, V'nat kosi b'yom ekra, B'yado Avki ruchi, B'yeti shat v'yahira, V'im ruchi k'v'yati, Adonai li v'lohui.
please rise for the closing benediction. Yivarechacha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Yo'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May the Lord turn his face unto you and grant you peace. Say Amen.
Amen.
Shabbat shalom. We do have a little Oneg Shabbat in the rotunda, so if you'd like to just leave the chapel and hang a left and another left.